Hello everyone, welcome to Systems Within Systems. My name is Sifu Hill. You can contact or see my information on systemswithinsystems.com, and that will bring you to all the other sites as well. So on this one, I wanted to talk a little bit about my past with the breathing before I get into showing you a couple of techniques. Breathing is very important. Has a lot of power to it and can also do a lot of damage. Years ago when I was younger in the arts, I trained with these many different types of Sifus. I've been training for over 19 years in the arts at that time. But before that, before I met Chen Yan Yu, I used to do this type of breathing thinking it would increase my qi, how I was taught, called Gulin breathing. And what it was it's doing these different exercises and this different type of breath and pushing the blood basically into different parts of your body. And I thought at that time that was qi. So there was a lot of things that happened to me back then. As far as fighting goes, it was great, but I started developing a twitch in my eye. I had a very bad temper. Of the hands, I would be able to push the blood into my hands, and into my head it would just go automatically. And my hands would turn different colors. I could still do it to this day, just talking about it. But it's very dangerous and very improper. And my hands would turn these different colors, red. It would go red because of the blood, and then it would actually turn like a bruised blue. Back then when I was doing a lot of fighting. And then I had this nervous twitch and stuff. I guess I looked kind of crazy. But anyway, what it was doing basically in the type of breathing, which is very powerful, was pulling the blood away from my heart and pushing it into other parts of my body, which did a lot of damage that I didn't know. Years and years later, I changed that breathing, and through the martial arts and the training, and through some instructions through Chen Yan Yu, who said if I keep going, by the time I reach 35, I will probably die, because my training was so intense and the breathing was so intense. And this is where a lot of these problems were coming from. And I have a lot of stories with that I tell my students about, who get to know me a little bit better. So anyway, he corrected it and altered the breathing, but not before the damage was done. Even at that young age, I was having pains in my heart and whatnot, pains throughout my body internally. Years later, many years later, I wasn't feeling too good, so I went into the hospital, and they ran all these tests on me, all of them, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me, but yet I still didn't feel right. And they ran tests and x-rays and all of that, and my heart is beating so strongly. They said we know that something was wrong with your heart, but we can't figure it out. And this one young doctor came up to me when I was sitting in one of the rooms there, and he says, there's one other test you should think about taking. It's a very uncomfortable test. It's an ink test, and they put a catheter into your leg, and they inject ink into your heart. So I took that test. I decided, I'm there, let's do it. The warrior's code, right? And I remember the surgeon stepped away from the table, and he said, Mr. Hill, we have to apologize. We just didn't see anything wrong, but you have, it's unique, but you have 7 blood clots in your heart, and technically you shouldn't be moving around. So this one other surgeon came up to me and said, let me get there and fix it, give you a new heart. Like we could just fix it. Don't do any of that stuff just let me fix it, because you're a perfect candidate. Your heart's so young. You got the heart of a 20-year-old. And I went, okay. So he fixed it. But basically, that damage was done from the breathing techniques that I did improperly. It really affected my heart, along with, probably genetics and not eating properly and all those things that compile on just life in general. But I really contributed a lot to the breath. So there's the motorcycle starting again. So we're going to continue with the breathing exercises as soon as that stops, and we'll start with that and get you guys going with some new breathing techniques. Thanks for watching.